First one is fairly similar to one we did yesterday, but in some ways it's a combination of two different ones we did yesterday. And in the practice, again, like it's very similar, but it's got a little bit of a twist, or they're all have their similarities, but no two questions are identical. Okay, so we did an area question yesterday, but it gave you the perimeter as well as the area, and this one does not give you the perimeter. So part of this will be solved in a slightly different way, that's all. Rectangular carpet has an area of 64 meters squared. Length of the carpet, 28 meters less than twice the width. Find the dimensions of the carpet. How do I start this question? Just in general. Let statements, right? Let statements. That's the easy one. Let statements. Can you wait till after? Not unless you have to. If you have to. Let L. What did you make your statements?
Let x represent the width and let 2x minus 28 represent.
Ah, nice. Okay. I'm going to use, this is good. Some people are doing this like saying x and y because we like x and y. There's something nice though, is when you have a variable or like dimensions, length and width, if we can use L and W, sometimes it helps. You don't have to. If this doesn't help you, then don't worry about it. But if we use L, length, and let W represent width, then at the end of our solution, it's a little bit more intuitive what the actual answer is. In this case, you might be fine. Like you might not need the help. But in some cases, sometimes you kind of do. So if you can do this, it might be a good idea, but you don't have to. It's up to you. So I'm going to use, for now, L and W. And so yesterday when we did this question with perimeter, we used the perimeter first as our first step. But we can't do that here. So put your pencil down. I don't want you to write anything. Actually, no, pick your pencil back up. I do want you to try something. Try to write this sentence. The length of the carpet is 28 meters less than twice the width. I want you to try to write that on your own. So do that right now. Take a minute. How are we doing? Just take a moment. Guess. Even if it's just a wild guess, you can scratch it out and fix it after. Nice. Okay, so now put your pencil down and don't write this down. This is like me pretending I'm trying to do this question. I'm not really sure what to do, but I'm just going to try. Like some people have a problem translating these words into a math sentence. So maybe this is how it would go in your head. I'm just going to try this. The length, I have to know that L means the length. Like you got to know that that variable now stands for the length. So the length of the carpet is 28 meters less than, that means minus. What's twice the width? 2 times the width. So 2W or 2 times W if you write it out that way. Don't write this down. Don't erase what you had. I told you not to do that. This is wrong. If you just went, oh, I did it wrong and started copying on my, no, I told you not to write this down. This is wrong. But maybe this is the first part of your thinking. And then do you say to yourself, is that 28 less than twice the width? Riley, you say it's not. Why?
Because that's twice the width less than 28.
Yeah, very good. Think about it this way. What is 3 less than 10? It's 10 minus 3, not 3 minus 10, right? So sometimes putting numbers in instead of like the words or the variables or the letters, sometimes thinking about an example with numbers can help, right? But this is wrong. So then, but that's okay. Like when it's just your thinking, you might make a mistake. There's nothing wrong. That's fine. And then I just go, oh, I got it backwards. 2W minus 28. There we go. That is 28 less than twice the width. Okay. One way or another, however you do it, you got to be able to do that. I often get people coming like every year coming and saying, I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to do that. There's no one way to do it. There's no There's no sentence I can say that will magically make everybody be able to do that. You got to work through it and have it click for you individually so that you know how to turn those words into a math sentence, which I would call this a math sentence. Yes?
Let's say we got all our variables that we can get.
Yeah.
Let's say there's L, like now we know what L equals.
Wait. Why don't you wait till we do that part and then you can ask? How's that sound? Like you mean when we find the value of L and W? Yeah, we're just about to do that. So how about we wait till we get there and then we can talk about that. So now that I have a statement for L, I can do this. So A equals L times W. I just start with my formula. I know the area. L is this thing. And W is just W. And if you're still unsure why, like a lot of people have a hard time setting these up. That's the struggle. People have even said to me today, like, oh, I'm all good with everything. It's just that setup that's part of it. Yeah, I know. That's kind of the point of word problems, is getting them set up. That is kind of the tricky part. So that's fine. That's what we're working on. So you just have to keep working at it and keep thinking about it and get used to the fact that this is like part of it, right? That you're going to at some point get a statement like this. Okay, so go ahead and solve that. What do? Expand, simplify, move everything to one side, and then you're going to factor or something like that. Okay, so go ahead and try that. Should have got that so far. W squared minus 14W minus 32. How many people got that? Awesome. So I expanded brackets, moved the 64 to the other side, became negative. And then notice I common factored out a 2 and I divided it out so it's gone. Like if you don't know how I went from step to step there, ask, but from here to here is common factor of 2 that I divided away. Okay, now I just factor this. Negative 16 and positive 2. Therefore, the width is 16, or the width is negative 2. This is why I like to use, in this case, instead of X and Y or something like that, W and L, because when I see it, it's like the width is 16. I don't even have to question, is that the width or the length? I don't remember what I started with. It just tells me. Not a big deal to go back up to the top. It's always good to look back over your let statements anyway. Hey, what was that thing? But in this case, it's kind of natural. Somebody asked, so Madison, the way you did it, where you said let W represent, or no, X represent width, and then 2W minus 28 equals. Somebody asked this morning, is it okay to do it that way? Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay? You don't have to use two variables. Sometimes, again, I like to use two variables, and sometimes other people do too, because then when I get my width, I immediately know how to go back and find my length. I have a little formula for it. But I mean, if you don't need that, if you're good, if it's kind of obvious to you, intuitive, then it's fine. Okay? But for some people who are struggling and they're having a hard time, that's a way of like focusing on what you're supposed to do and what's the next step, that kind of thing. How do I interpret this answer? Rachel. Width can't be negative. I love it. Well said. So, inadmissible. You have to cross. If one of the answers is not viable, doesn't make any sense, you have to cross it out and say something. You can say not possible. You can say length can't be negative. Or you could even just say can't be negative. The word I always use is inadmissible. You don't have to say inadmissible. But you have to say something. You have to cross it out and say something. If you don't, you're going to lose like half a mark or something like that on a test. Because it looks like you had two answers that magically one of them disappeared or you forgot it or something, and now in the next step you only have one answer. Why? I mean, I know why, but it's up to you to show me that you know why too and that you understand it. And again, I said this the other day, but it's not always negative numbers that are inadmissible, and sometimes they are, sometimes they're not. Sometimes it's positive numbers. Don't make sense. Okay? Next step, so this is where if I have my little formula, I can go, if width is 16, length is 2 times the width minus 28, which is 2 times 16 minus 28, which is 32 minus 28, which is 4. And my final statement. Done. Make sure your final statement answers the question you're being asked. Find the dimensions of the carpet. There. Yes, Siggy.
What if, so on the left, width equals 4, what if you got a negative 38?
What have you got? 2 negative? Oh, negative for this?
Yeah.
So unless the question is set up improperly, like if you made up your own question, it might not work. You can't just make this stuff up. If it's a question that's been made up properly, one of the answers, if not both, has to make sense. So if we crossed out one of the lengths because it's negative, and then subbed the other one in here and got something negative, we've made a mistake somewhere. That can't happen. If as the question's been set up properly and has a solution, this will find it.
You can't flip the signs.
No, you can't just magically flip signs. If both of the answers are positive, but when I sub one of them in here, it gives me a negative for the other dimension, but the other one works, then there you go. You know which one is the right answer. Like that could be a reason why I get two positive answers, but one of them is still inadmissible because its counter dimension doesn't make any sense.
Why are you 16 pounds?
I don't know. I meant to say meters. Thank you. Yes, I'll fix that.
With a
Jaden.
final statement, can you say 4 meters by 16 meters?
Absolutely, yeah. Doesn't matter too much how you say it. Alan, you had a question earlier about like when you get to the end. Do you remember it, or do you want to ask it now?
It wasn't about the end, it was more about the beginning. Do you know
Oh.
formulas?
Yes.
How do you know your formulas?
From grade 9. You like in grade 9, you learn formulas for perimeter and area of basic shapes. Like, I mean, we did triangles a little bit in this course, and a square or rectangle, you should know the formula for area and perimeter of those. So you should just know them.
What if you forget?
Write them down on a piece of paper and start memorizing them. Okay? In grade 9, here's the tricky part. It's a good question, actually, because in grade 9, you got a formula sheet. You didn't have to memorize all of them. But that's because you also had volume and surface area and like other shapes like trapezoids and stuff. All I've asked you so far is basic shapes. You should absolutely know a triangle, rectangle, circle, how to find the area or circumference, perimeter of those things. Give you a minute to copy this down. I think you want it copied down. So that question was similar to ones we did yesterday, similar to ones you were practicing. This one's very new and different. Okay, so heads up, let's make sure that we get this kind. This is like one of the key types of applications that we do. So you could be sure that you'll see this one on the test, maybe even on the final exam. So we're going to look at it and give you some tips on how to solve these types of questions. Again, every type is a little bit different, but they're all like picture frame types.
Will we need to memorize other, like more complicated shapes for this unit?
No, I don't think so.
So just-
And if you're doing the practice, if you're at home doing practice, and the textbook says like a trapezoidal yard is, look up the form, like Google it, right? Like you got a Chromebook, Google it. I did, and this is on film right now, and I just forgot to post it, so it is posted now. And if I can go and cut this out too, if I don't know. Maybe I will, maybe I won't, but yeah. Okay, how we doing? We got that kind of written down?
I think it was just the length, and if I gave him two numbers like
You don't, there is no such thing as a rule about which one is a length and which one is a width of something. Some people might even say base and height, or they might say width and height. You know, if I like lie it down, it's got a width and a length. If I stand it up, it's got a width and a height. Like, so really when we're talking dimensions, we just want to think about this by this. Doesn't matter what you call it. Okay? So in this case, it makes no difference which one. And in fact, we're not even going to really worry about which one is length, which one is width. Like that's not going to really be a part of this question, it turns out. All right, so to get this started, what do we always start word problems with? Sometimes you can't write your let statement first because you don't really know what to make it, although you kind of should because as I've told you, it's pretty much always what you're being asked to find. But in this case, it is. So like we're going to start with our let statement. So let's do that. Let, or just use X, represent. What do you think? Who wants to guess? Anang? Nope. Yep. So nice, the width of the border. The thing we're being asked to find. Yes, this is about dimensions. Yes, this talks about area. But it actually gives us the dimensions of the picture. And that's not what we're trying to find anyway, but like it gives us the dimensions. This is a slightly different kind of question. You haven't seen it before, but use that rule. What am I being asked to find? The width of the border. Let X represent the width of the border. If you didn't figure that out, well, in this case, I don't know if it'd be super helpful. But the other thing you might try first is drawing a diagram. So that's what we're going to do here. So the next step here for sure is to draw the diagram. And in fact, on a test, a question like this, there would be like a mark for a properly drawn and labeled diagram. Okay, so let's start with our photograph or picture. I don't know if this is a photograph or a picture or what, but we'll just say it's a photograph. It's a photograph of me that time that I climbed Mount Everest. That's me on top of Mount Everest. It was sunny that day. Okay. There's my picture. Now this says there's a border around it. You've seen these. Does this make sense? Like you picture a photograph that's hanging on your wall in your house or something. Sometimes it's just in a frame. It's like a wooden frame. But sometimes we've got like a wooden frame and there's like this, I don't know, white or whatever color border, right? That's like around the frame, or sorry, around the picture, and then the frame is on the outside of that. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes they call that a mat. The textbook, it's called a mat. Okay, I just call it a border. But don't be confused. But that's important. And the width of the border is X. Where do I put that in the diagram? That's this. And it's the same on every side. We call this a uniform border. All right? So that's a key aspect to this problem. The last thing we know is this is 5. No, this is 10. And this is 5. It's 10. It's definitely not 7. Now, somebody tell me, now that we've drawn this diagram, so again, drawing the diagram is key to this problem. It is also helpful. Some people don't like to draw diagrams. They're like, what a pain. I'm not very good at drawing, but it helps, trust me, okay? These questions are visual, and even if you're a visual person or not, it'll likely help you. And again, every question is a little bit different. There are similarities between all these picture border questions. Sometimes it's like a lawn around a garden, but it's the same idea, okay? And it's like a uniform width lawn or something, section of grass, or the tulips, or I don't know. There's all kinds of things you can make it, right? But like it's the same idea. It's a picture question, okay? And so you want to draw it. And sometimes if it's a little bit different, drawing it will help. In some ways, it's going to be a bit different. Pat it to you later. Somebody tell me something we know now. Anything. It's fine. Jaden.
The width of the picture is 5 centimeters.
Good. Width of the picture is 5 centimeters. We got that on here. Awesome. What else? Riley. Nice. So is that useful? I don't know, but it's something that we can start scratching down. So let's do it. Area of the picture. How'd you get 55 times 10? Length times width, which is 50. Good. What else do we know? Jaden.
The length of the base of the border is 2x plus 5.
Nice. Okay, so let's talk about that again for a second. Move this down. The bottom part of the border is 2x plus 5. Do you see why? If not, watch. Put your pencil down and watch. This is the uniform border. That length is x. That length is x. That length is 5. So the entire way across is 2 x's and a 5. Do you see that now? Again, that's a big part of solving this problem. That's like key aspect. How do I find the other dimension then? Somebody different do that one for me. Tony, do you have an idea? 2x plus 10. Brilliant. Good work. So same thing, x, 10, and x. 2x plus 10. This one has a border on both sides, so it's like that. Not every single question works like that. Draw it, think about it. That's part of the problem solving. Okay, what else do we know? Riley.
The area of the border has to be 100 centimeters squared.
How'd you get that?
Because it needs to be twice the area of the
Nice. Twice the area of the picture. It tells us that. This isn't the other key aspect of this is thinking about how the areas are related. It always gives you this typical thing. Take a look. Where's all the key information that I'm told? It gives me those. It's surrounded by a border, and the width of the border is the same on all sides. And it's surrounded by the border, so it's on every side. The area of the border is twice the area of the picture. There's the key information in that question, right? I need all those pieces in different times to figure that out. So now I know area is length times width. So what do I do? We're not quite done with all of our thinking yet. What is that big A that I wrote up there? Like what area is that? The area of what? Is it the area of the picture? Area of the border? What do you think?
area of the picture and the border.
Very nice. It's the total area, right? So just watch this whole picture has these dimensions, and the whole area is both of those added together. So area total is 50 plus 100, 150. There's my area. What's my length? 2x plus 10. What's my width? 2x plus 5. Bam. Setup, done. What do? Expand, simplify, move everything to one side, equal to 0, solve. Okay, so I want you to try that right now. Try your hand at expanding and simplifying that. You get that? 40x squared plus 30x minus 100 equals 0. Good. Should have got that. Now factor it. What do we always do? Common factor out a 2. You can't take out the whole 4, but you can get out a 2. I got 2x minus 5, x plus 10. Does that feel right? So x is 5 halves and x is negative 10. Now what do I do? Liam, what do you think? Yes, Liam. What do you think about that answer? This is something that might go through your head. Sorry to cut you off. Well, what is x? Check your let statement. Oh, represent the width of that uniform border that's around the whole side. Okay, so can't be. Yeah, width could be a fraction. That's a good question though. And once in a while that's true. Once in a while you can't have a fraction answer. 5 over 2 is 2.5, so it could be 2.5 centimeters. So in that case, that's fine. What do you think? Can't be negative. That's true because it's the length, right? So inadmissible. Either way, the fact that we're thinking which are both, maybe you get 2 widths that will work. I don't know. Maybe that's possible, right? So think about whether one or the other or both of the answers make sense. Therefore, the uniform border is 2.5, I believe it was centimeters.